I'm James Secord.
I'm Ashley.
We've been married for 19 years.
Yep.
We met, first time we met was in Jasper. We were married in Maui, in Kihei, on the beach. It was beautiful.
Yep.
When we started dating, we were 20, and we got married when we were 21.
At first, our marriage was really good, but it quickly turned not good because James was working away a lot, and so I was raising 2 kids alone, and it was really hard, and I didn't feel loved, and I wasn't happy at all.
And yeah, I think you get confused with the worldly wants and needs, and I thought my career was the most important thing in my family. I put my family before my wife, so it was fine for the first while, but it just gets harder and harder and harder. You really think you're doing something as a man for providing for your family and taking care of everyone, but you really miss out on the connection with your wife. And when you don't have that, it's very hard to succeed.
Yeah, so I ended up having affairs, and then I told James, and he left me, and so I was just with the kids, and somehow I started dating, and then my mom got breast cancer, and so I ended up not being with that guy anymore. So I was reading a book, and I really felt like I was supposed to be with James. So even though I was served divorce papers, I went to James and I just said, I really want to make it work with you. And he said, sure. So then we got back together.
When we separated, same thing. You have all these worldly things, and meeting girls, doing drugs, partying, having fun, all the fun stuff in the world. But there was still a miss. Like I knew I loved Ashley. I knew I wanted to be with her under all circumstances. But I think there's, the hurt, and I hated her. I don't want to be with her. You're telling all your friends, but really, truly deep down, when you're married and you've made that bond with your wife, there's nothing else that will fill that. There's just nothing earthly that would fill that. So when she called me, I was extremely happy. I was like, this is amazing,
But the problem was that we didn't have any healing, so we got back together, still a mess. And then to top it all off, I found out that I was pregnant with the guy that I was last with. And so that was really difficult because we were trying to make our marriage work, but now I'm pregnant with another guy's kid. So that was really, really hard. And we also didn't have any healing, so it was just a really messy time. And we ended up in the exact same position. So we were back together. He's working away. I'm mad. I'm having affairs again. So it's like the same thing, but we didn't know what to do. And actually, so that brings us to when we decided to go to Ellel. And James's parents came before us, yeah, and said, and were so impacted by the ministry that they were like, all of our kids are going. So they offered it to us. They said they would pay for it, and if we wanted to go, we could come. So I was like, yes, like desperate. Like, I do not want to be like this. I don't want to be in this situation. So I'll do anything to figure this out. And this will help James because he's the problem. Like, he's not loving me, and he's, not home, and, this is his fault.
Yeah, so we get back together. Everything's perfect. Nothing's ever happened. Nothing's wrong. And it probably only lasted, I don't even know if it would last a year. It's the same thing. You got the friends you were hanging out with before, so you're still having fun, partying, and not sharing this stuff with your spouse, it was still tough, but you knew there was something there and you wanted to hold on to it, but you didn't quite understand it at that time. So, same thing. My career was the most important thing. I wanted to do the best for my family because that's what it's about. It's, this is a family business, everything's great. It's perfect. And, it's great. And, my family has been great in that regard. But once again, I was not putting the things in the right order. So once again, it didn't happen, didn't last too long. Parents came to Ellel, asked us to go, and, it was the end of the road for us, really. It came down to it as this is going to work or it's not.
So then we were the first ones to come. And I was nervous and didn't really know what to expect, but we started off in the teachings and, first off, it's like such an amazing place, like so beautiful, and like I just couldn't believe how, what's the word I'm looking for? Intentional.
Very
So intentional here, like from the notes on your bed and the prayers that God have gone before you, and everybody's praying for you, and treats you like they love you, and you don't experience that. And then when we went into the teachings, I'd never heard anything like that before. I've never learned about your timeline, or that things that in your past could affect the way you are now. And that was a huge key into healing and deliverance for us. And we would get the teaching, and then we'd go to we'd go to the Lord, and then we would go to Kent and Karen, and they would just put you back with the Lord, and then you would get healing.
The biggest thing I got out of Time Out 1 was, the godly order and how you're supposed to lay things out, that, the Lord's first, your wife's second, your children are third, and everything else. And once that clicked in my head, I just knew that was my biggest fault. There's lots of faults, but I found if I could get that right, I knew that we could set a foundation in our family that would be very hard to bring down. So, that was the biggest teaching I got out of Time Out 1.
Right.
And forgiveness and, shame and, things that have happened in your life that affect you. And I think the biggest thing is once you admit it and own it, it just changes your whole life. Like, even us, every part of it's really, like, every part of it. And it's still, you're gonna, life's not perfect. There's gonna be hard times, but if this is right, there's, everything else will be okay.
Yeah, like taking right responsibility. Like I would blame everything on him, when really, when I came and the teaching showed me that, I had to work on my own wounds, my own heart, that I'm not responsible for his, and I can't blame him for his, that I had to work it out with the Lord, and he showed me my part in it, and that I'm responsible for that, and so that he's safe to come to. And so that it totally changed our lives. Like,
I think the other one too is boundaries. Healthy boundaries, healthy people to be around. Your social groups, all of that stuff. It's really, especially family, because there's so much overreach. There's so much everything in between different families, or for everyone it's different. But when we set healthy boundaries for our family, our internal family, it was, man, it's for surely life-changing. It really is.
Yeah, when James got the godly order right, I didn't even know that was a thing. So when he came and said that was what the Lord did in him and apologized to me, our relationship just came into alignment. like that. Like, he just, put God first, then me, then our family, and then everyone else. And it shifted our whole family. And we didn't know that was even a thing. So that was amazing. And that was one thing that we're really grateful for. And then when we went home, our whole family was like, what happened to you guys? Like, what's going on? Like, you guys are so different, and really influenced by and moved by us, because we were in such a dark place, and they could see how much God had worked in us and our kids, and even our kids started to like not be so wild. They were like they were insecure and probably scared. And I remember my son, he was like kind of scared, because he's like, are you gonna love Jesus more than me? Like, he was like, didn't know what to do with that. But then, as time went on, he was like, oh, this is better. Like, this is safe. Like, this is good. And, they all, started following him, and they were all baptized, and just our whole our whole family dynamic is just awesome. We're all super close now, and
I think too the trust too with us, and then also I think the kids trust us more now, and I think that was big too, because I think there was a point where they really didn't trust us, maybe just because of we didn't fight, but they sense what's going on in a relationship, your children, and so I think that trust has really settled our kids, and now they're on their own walk, and of course there's some still younger, but it's just been an amazing journey. It's an amazing journey.
So James was he ended up working up in Fort McMurray, and I was at home in Spruce Grove with the kids, and I was never gonna go there. But when James got the godly order right, the Lord moved in me and basically said, you need to be with James, and no matter where he is. And so then the kids and I moved up to be with him in Fort Mac, and then we fell in love with Fort McMurray, and we love it still.
Yeah, it's once it was kind of a change, because when you're working out of town all the time, and it's almost, you get to a place in a habit that you're not around your family lots, and it's different. So then it's sometimes hard to come back to your family and be around them. But when Ashley said she wanted to move to Fort McMurray, I was like, this is amazing. The kids came, and I could be around them pretty much every day, and it just changed our whole relationship.
We did have struggles, though.
Well, there's always struggles.
Right, but we had struggles in that time.
Oh, for sure.
Because,
Well, Ashley moved up. Fire came, burnt our house down. So that was, Ashley's like, are you sure we should be here? So we rebuilt our house. And yeah, it's an amazing place.
And in that time, I ended up coming for Restoration Week. And that was a real healing time for me, and I actually felt like I was very empowered leaving. Like, I felt like full of life and powerful, like I could do anything, and really confident. And coming back to the beginning, I was not confident, and I didn't like myself at all, and was really ashamed of who I was and the choices that I made. And so after Restoration Week, it was unbelievable. And then we came to timeout too.
Yeah.
The first time. And that was a really big deal too, because I hadn't fully been honest with James the first time. Like, we came a long way, but after this second time out too, I had to tell him some really hard things that I was scared to. which is such a lie because the enemy is a liar, and it's not true because it was scary to do it, but after it was done, it was nothing like I was telling myself or the enemy was telling me. So it was, it just created a safe place for us to have these conversations, and so it was amazing.
Yeah.
And
it was.
although hard, as in the sense that we had to walk it out when we left here. So, you know, we had to still have the conversations. You can't just leave. You have to do the work when you leave.
You know, the best part of a relationship now is just, you know, I think the closeness, the oneness, the trust I have in Ashley now, even the trust in myself, that I know that this is very important, and I won't put myself in situations that would jeopardize something like this. So, you know, I'm very good at that because I know what this is worth, and what everything else worldly is worth. It's not worth the same. It really isn't. And then also I think with our kids, and you know, in this day and age, how hard it is for married couples to stay together, to be together, or even to show people how important it is. So to show my sons that, to show my daughters what it's like for a husband to love a wife, it's extremely important to me. So that's what.
For me, it's, I guess the best part of our relationship is to be fully known and fully loved, and that he knows every part of me, and I am, and you love me, and you choose me. So I think that, and I know every part of you that we can share with each other. So nothing's hidden, and that's my favorite part of our relationship.